Did you hear you can now reserve a hotel room on the moon for $1 million? They got a hotel up there now? I feel like I would have heard about that. Moon Hotel now taking reservations. What the fuck? This startup is putting a new spin to the term one-star hotel. If you want to stay at the first ever hotel on the moon, well, it's going to cost you a pretty penny. Initial deposit between $250K and $1 million just to secure your stay. That's what a startup called Grew Space, the letters apparently stand for Galactic Resource Utilization, is offering to would-be vacationers after the company opened its website for online reservations this week. All goes according to plan, the first truly one-star hotel will start accommodating guests in the 2030s. What the fuck? All sounds pretty far-fetched, especially since the company has only 2 full-time employees, including founder Skylar Chan, who graduated from University of California last year. Okay, what the fuck? If this isn't the biggest load of baloney I've ever heard in my life, you're telling me a fresh out of college graduate is going to somehow put a hotel on the moon? But the company does have seed funding from startup accelerator Y Combinator. While it's clearly a castle in the sky, at least there's some money behind it. Realized I was born in this time where we can actually become interplanetary. That is probably the singular, most impactful thing one person could do with their time. In a white paper published on the Grew website, Chan lays out the company's ambitious goals that go beyond being a mere lunar hotelier. The company will initially build a hotel, then start constructing a moon base and other important infrastructure for a human colony. Eventually, Grew would function like a spacefaring version of the Hudson Bay Company, a storied fur trading enterprise that was established in 1670, which was given permission via royal charters to oversee laws, trade, and property in the Canadian wilderness. This is the biggest pipe dream I've ever heard. There's no way. Envisions sending an inflatable structure to the moon's surface via space lander in 2029. First mission wouldn't just test a habitable structure, but would also construct bricks from lunar regolith for future buildings. Ugh. This is so silly, it's making me yawn. Then in 2031, the company plans to send a larger human habitation pod, the hotel, to be placed into a lunar pit that would shield visitors from cosmic radiation and other dangers. Yeah, I'm sure. By 2032, the company will have the small hotel on the lunar surface up and running and will be able to accommodate 4 guests for stays of multiple days. Curiously, the company published images on its website that depict the future established hotel, which bears a striking resemblance to the Palace of the Fine Arts in San Francisco. SpaceX is building the FedEx to get us there, right? There has to be a destination worthy to stay in. Good luck. I'm not saying I couldn't see that happening. What I'm saying is I can't see that happening with this guy, this team. A fresh out of college random student. If we had an elevator that took us to the moon from Earth, would you take it? Fuck no, I wouldn't take it. Even setting aside all the cosmic radiation that would fry my ass in minutes and have me freaked out for the rest of my life about like space disease and shit, it'd still just be fucking awful. I would hate going to the moon. It's like a combination of everything I don't like. Like cruises, for example, where you're stranded in a location and have no means of getting back. You're at the mercy of the schedule. Basically going to prison. A little too on the nose that they call themselves Gru, as in the Despicable Me character who wanted to steal the moon. You wanna know something crazy? I've never seen Despicable Me. You definitely need like a constant electromagnetic field in order to be actually safe from the rays. I don't know what you'd need to be safe from the rays. I'd never trusted. I'd never trust that it was enough. It's okay. The 5G towers will protect you. True. Coded in 5G. Basically immune to space rays. Do you think we're going to see buildings on the moon in our lifetime? No. I don't see why we would. That's a crazy amount of resources for something that would only be usable by maybe like a handful of people. It would take decades. Like, I don't even see how they'd make money. There would just be no reason. Technologically, we could in the future, but I don't think we ever would. It'd be fucking worthless. Unless they find something like buried on the moon for whatever reason, like a plethora of rare minerals or whatever. Well, we will if they find oil on the moon. That would be a crazy discovery, finding oil on the moon. That'd go hard. Check out the trailer on YouTube, Gru Space Launch. Nice! The first Gru mission! Nice! The habitat's there! Huge! How big is the moon again? Because looking at the size of these structures relative to the planet size, these are absolutely ginormous. Are you convinced now? Now I am. Yeah, now I see it. That would be the biggest building ever made at that scale. Yeah, it's like the size of a fucking, like, country. Who do you need to get permits from? I have no fucking idea. The Space Commander Council or something. We have the Space Force. Ask them. Did you know the US almost nuked the moon in the 50s? I love the sound of that. Was it to test nukes or just to see what would happen to the moon if we nuked it? Just to see what would happen. That's cool. I've always said, always relatively speaking, I've said for like 5 years now, something we should seriously consider as a planet, like our species, we should seriously consider. Getting together is much like DNA dense bioorganic shit, putting it on a rocket and just firing like hundreds of those bitches out into space to see if we can seed life out there. And then maybe they come home. We'll meet our distant alien cousins at some point. Actual Dr. Doofenshmirtz shit. The Doofenshmirtz like to do that? Because if so, that guy had it figured out. Kind of like Ego from Guardians of the Galaxy. In a sense. I just think you fire a bunch of cum rockets out there and just see, maybe on a slim chance, they lead to life somewhere. It was called Project A119. Apparently it was meant to answer mysteries in planetary astronomy and astrogeology, and a big fuck you to the Soviets. How would nuking the moon be a big fuck you to the Soviets in particular? That's a big fuck you to humans, really. Did you know Big Bird was almost on the Challenger? Someone told me that a long time ago in stream. I don't remember if I ever looked it up, but it was such a cool idea, sending fucking Big Bird to space on the Challenger. Can you imagine? Jesus Christ. They replaced him with the teachers. Is that what it was? Man, that whole thing is fucking crazy. I remember when I was a kid, my dad was watching something on Challenger and telling me about it. Haunting. I actually went down a time travel rabbit hole yesterday. I learned about a guy called Mike Madman Markham. Okay. What does Madman do? Apparently he went on a radio show back in 1995 and said he was building a time machine using a Jacob's ladder. Afterwards, he disappeared for 20 years and reappeared in 2015 with total amnesia. Yeah, I'm sure. I bet you believed in John Teeter. The fuck I did. John Teeter's a really cool idea, but I never actually believed that. I don't believe time travel is ever possible. I don't think there will ever come a time where time travel is feasible. It'll only ever be theoretical time travel. Time travel in the future at accelerated rate is real. Look up time dilation near black holes. Well, no, that's real. But that, again, it's not like we can harness the power of black hole time dilation to accelerate through time. And I also know teleportation is theoretically possible with enough speed. We've done that before, quantumly. With like a particle. People thought we would never fly, but here we are. That's just like actually not true though. For hundreds of years, people were coming up with flying theory and flying ideas. Da Vinci making prototype flying machines. There was always that drive and that idea of flight being a possibility. With time travel, there's nothing even like that. Like, what do you like? How do you even start to like ideate on time travel gizmos? They prove particles react differently when they are observed. That's the double slit experiment. I'm very well aware. That's a bit of an oversimplification of it, but I know what you're getting at. We knew flight was possible because we saw creatures fly. Wow, that's a very interesting perspective, actually, that I didn't even consider. That is true. Flight as a concept isn't, like, inconceivable. Time travel, however, is. Which is why I think it'll only ever exist as a theory. I don't think there'll ever come a time when humans can time travel. Immortality is much more feasible and realistic, to a certain extent. Do you think there will come a time where humans can travel at light speed? I don't know, I'm really back and forth on that one. Because I feel like there's gotta be a way. That's one where I feel like that could happen. Even though the science we have now says it basically can't. It's basically time travel. In one direction, right? Which is why I said that is very real. Like with time dilation around black holes, that is a very real thing. But what you can't do, even moving at the speed of light, is you can't go like, I want to go 20 years in the past, so I'm going to go 20 years in the past and then just live the next 20 years how it was type thing. What you can do is you can travel like millions of light years and look back on Earth and see dinosaurs. So it's a version of time travel, but you can't then go, okay, now I want to go hang out with the dinosaurs, so I'll just travel X amount of millions of light years back to Earth so I can hang out with the dinosaurs. You wouldn't end up there. You can only do that going forward. You just have to go backwards. True. You have to go in the other direction. Put the ship in reverse like a car. Do you believe in the multiverse? Not really. I haven't seen too much convincing evidence of, like, parallel universes or anything like that. I'm not a big believer in that. Do you think quantum computers will lead to some major discoveries we wouldn't have thought possible? I'm optimistic they will. Absolutely. I have no idea what those discoveries will look like, but I have no doubt they will. Do you think there's anything cool under the ice of Antarctica? I guess cool in what sense? I don't think there's any, like, wild tech or anything like Atlantis artifacts, but I bet there's some very cool, I don't know, old life forms, like, I don't know, fucking eukaryotic shit. I think there'll be cool, like, old, degraded things, but nothing like Tartaria or whatever. If anything, there will be a bunch of diseases. Maybe. Very possible. That's a little fun fact. The, what is it? Drinking Antarctic water is an extremely dangerous thing because of that very reason. Everyone thinks that it's like the cleanest water in the world, but it's actually the worst water you could possibly drink. I think it's just glacial water, like any water that comes around there. I don't think it has to be specifically like in the heart of Antarctica.